You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
RH, quer saber como voar no trabalho? É só usar a Flash. Com a Flash, você concentra toda a gestão de pessoas em um único lugar. Faça a admissão dos colaboradores e solicite mais de 8 categorias de benefícios. Ah, e você ainda pode fazer todo o controle de ponto. Conheça o novo onboarding integrado da Flash em flashapp.com.br.
Hey everybody, Dave here. Have you ever wondered where your personal information is lurking online? Like many of you, I was concerned about my data being sold by data brokers. So I decided to try Delete Me. I have to say, Delete Me is a game changer. Within days of signing up, they started removing my personal information from hundreds of data brokers. I finally have peace of mind knowing my data privacy is protected. Delete Me's team does all the work for you with detailed reports, so you know exactly what's been done. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and use promo code N2K at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and enter code N2K at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/N2K, code N2K. The House Homeland Security Chair introduces a major cyber workforce bill. Google rolls out new Gmail security tools. Telegram makes a big shift in its privacy policy. Microsoft doubles down on cybersecurity. A Kansas water treatment facility suffers a suspected cyber attack. MoneyGram reports network outages. Kaspersky antivirus users get an automatic upgrade, sort of. North Korean IT workers infiltrate Fortune 100 companies. Gartner analysts urge cybersecurity leaders to focus on prevention, response, and recovery. In this week's Threat Vector, host David Moulton is joined by Daniel Kenzor, Global Data and AI Security Practice Lead at Accenture. They explore the seismic shifts in cybersecurity brought about by AI technologies. And a lavish lifestyle exposes the duo behind a $230 million crypto scam. It's Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Thanks for joining us here today. It is great to have you with us. In an exclusive for Cyberscoop, Tim Starks reports that House Homeland Security Chairman Mark Green is introducing the PIVOTT Act of 2024, aimed at addressing the U.S. cybersecurity workforce gap by creating an ROTC-like program within the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. The program will offer scholarships to students at community colleges and technical schools in exchange for 2 years of public service in federal, state, or local government cyber roles. The bill targets individuals who may not fit traditional 4-year college paths or those seeking career changes, aiming to involve 250 students in its first year and eventually expanding to 10,000. Participants would engage in skills-based tasks like hackathons and benefit from early initiation of the security clearance process. This initiative seeks to close the cybersecurity job gap, currently estimated at nearly 500,000 unfilled positions. Green stresses the need for fresh approaches to attract and train cyber talent, particularly amid rising cyber threats from countries like China, Iran, and Russia. The bill is seen as complementary to existing programs like CyberCorps and other legislative efforts aimed at bolstering the federal cybersecurity workforce. If passed, it will leverage CISA's industry partnerships to expand cybersecurity training outside of traditional degree programs. While there's no funding attached yet, Green's team emphasizes the importance of investing in cybersecurity talent as a critical line of defense. Co-sponsors of the bill include Representatives Carlos Jimenez and Mike Ezell, with a committee markup scheduled for Wednesday. Google is rolling out key Gmail security improvements powered by their Gemini AI for organizations of all sizes. The new Security Advisor tool will provide enterprise-grade protection to smaller businesses. It offers tailored intelligence to defend against evolving cyber threats and delivers actionable guidance directly to IT admins' inboxes. Security Advisor includes a security sandbox for scanning email attachments and enhanced safe browsing to detect malicious content before it reaches users. The AI model, trained on the worst email threats, has improved Gmail's spam detection and response capabilities significantly. Additionally, Security Advisor extends protections beyond Gmail to other Google Workspace apps, including Chrome and Drive, offering enhanced safe browsing, data protection, and app access management to safeguard sensitive information and prevent security risks across the platform. Telegram has made a big shift in its privacy policy. The messaging app has announced it will now share users' IP addresses and phone numbers with authorities if they've got a valid search warrant. CEO Pavel Durov says this move is meant to discourage criminals from using the platform, pointing out that while the vast majority of Telegram users are law-abiding, it's the small fraction of bad actors giving the app a bad name. This comes on the heels of Durov himself being arrested in France, charged with enabling criminal activity on the platform. Telegram's been under fire for hosting all kinds of unsavory content, from misinformation to child abuse materials. And some critics are worried this new policy could open the door for Telegram to cooperate with authoritarian regimes, especially in places where dissidents rely on the app. Telegram says it's beefing up content moderation with AI, but experts are already questioning whether this will satisfy European regulators. Durov's announcement has left many wondering how far Telegram is willing to go and if it's still a safe space for free speech. Microsoft says they're doubling down on cybersecurity after some recent high-profile hacks shook things up. They've brought in new leadership with some serious credentials like Timothy Langan, a 26-year FBI veteran, and Sean Bowen, who used to head up cybersecurity for the Marine Corps. And they're not stopping there. Internal leaders like Azure's CTO Mark Rusinovich are stepping into new deputy CISO roles as part of a 13-member team. Microsoft now has 34,000 engineers working full-time on security, all part of their Secure Future initiative, the biggest revamp of their security practices in over 20 years. And CEO Satya Nadella, he's making sure security comes first, even before new product features. He's set up weekly meetings with his top brass to tackle the tough issues head-on. His message is clear: fix the problems, don't just tell me how great things are. One challenge is balancing security with the constant pressure to innovate, especially in AI. Recently, Microsoft's AI team rolled out a new feature called Recall, which had to be pulled back after raising red flags with security experts. But Microsoft says they're learning from these stumbles, tightening up their processes so teams can launch features securely. The bottom line, Nadella wants Microsoft focused on solutions, not excuses. It's a serious shift for the company, and it seems they're all in on making sure they're ready to defend against the next big cyber threat. Arkansas City in Kansas switched its water treatment facility to manual operations after a suspected cyber attack on September 22nd. The incident did not affect the water supply or disrupt services, and the city manager reassured residents that the water remained safe. Authorities were notified, and cybersecurity experts are working to resolve the issue and restore normal operations. Details are limited, but the facility may have been targeted by a ransomware attack, prompting precautionary shutdowns to protect the systems. Enhanced security measures have been put in place. MoneyGram, the digital payment giant, is experiencing network outages following a cybersecurity incident. Users began reporting service disruptions on Friday, and by Monday, the company confirmed a security issue had led to systems being taken offline for investigation. MoneyGram is working with external cybersecurity experts and law enforcement to address the problem, though it hasn't confirmed if a ransomware attack is involved. The company's services remain offline, including its website, affecting customers globally, particularly in the Caribbean and Mexico. The Bank of Jamaica reported that remittance services using MoneyGram in Jamaica are also down. MoneyGram, which handles over $200 billion in transactions across 200 countries annually, say they're working to restore operations. Ransomware attacks on financial services have surged recently, targeting firms to pressure quick payouts due to customer reliance. MoneyGram was acquired by Madison Dearborn Partners in 2023. Users of Kaspersky antivirus in the U.S. woke up to find their software swapped out for something new, Ultra AV. This change comes after the U.S. Department of Commerce banned Kaspersky's products over national security concerns. Kaspersky partnered with Ultra AV to make sure there's no gap in protection, and the switch happened automatically through a software update on September 19th. Ultra AV brings similar features like antivirus, VPN, password manager, and identity theft protection. However, many users were caught off guard, with some voicing concerns online about the lack of notification and the fact that Ultra AV is relatively unknown. There's been chatter about the new product's limited track record, and users are understandably hesitant. Kaspersky assures customers that their subscriptions are still valid and that Ultra AV will keep their system secure. But the sudden shift has definitely raised eyebrows, with about 1 million U.S. users affected by the transition. A recent report from Google's Mandiant unit reveals that dozens of Fortune 100 companies have unknowingly hired North Korean IT workers using fake identities. These workers, part of a scheme known as UNC 5267, are sent by the North Korean government to earn multiple salaries while gaining access to U.S. tech firms. This access could be exploited for cyber attacks or inserting malicious code. The scheme involves U.S.-based laptop farms, where remote technology enables workers to operate from China or Russia. Some American operators have been charged for facilitating the scam, which generated millions for North Korea. Mandiant urges companies to implement stricter hiring protocols, such as verifying worker identities and laptop locations. The North Korean IT workers are thought to funnel their earnings to the regime's weapons programs. The U.S. has responded by seizing assets, shutting down domains, and issuing sanctions on entities tied to the scheme. At the recent Gartner Risk and Security Summit, analysts Akif Khan and Christopher Mixter urged cybersecurity leaders to move beyond a zero-tolerance-for-failure approach and embrace a balanced focus on prevention, response, and recovery. While prevention remains essential, they argued that organizations have underinvested in response and recovery, leaving them vulnerable. Cyber attacks are inevitable, and prioritizing response and recovery is crucial for long-term success. The analysts outlined 3 key areas for development: shifting away from a zero-failure mindset, implementing a minimum effective tool set to streamline cybersecurity tools, and building a resilient workforce with strong self-care and mental health support. They stress that as AI technology evolves, preventing every attack is impossible, making adaptation critical. Gartner also emphasized the importance of managing third-party vendor risk, suggesting formal contingency plans for vendor incidents. Lastly, they encouraged organizations to value failure as a learning tool, promoting resilience as a key competency in cybersecurity. Coming up after the break on this week's Threat Vector, David Moulton speaks with Daniel Kenzor, Global Data and AI Security Practice Lead at Accenture. Stay with us. And now, a word from our sponsor, KnowBe4. It's all connected, and we're not talking conspiracy theories. When it comes to InfoSec tools, effective integrations can make or break your security stack. The same should be true for security awareness training. KnowBe4, provider of the world's largest library of security awareness training, provides a way to integrate your existing security stack tools to help you strengthen your organization's security culture. KnowBe4's Security Coach uses standard APIs to quickly and easily integrate with your existing security products from vendors like Microsoft, CrowdStrike, and Cisco, 35 vendor integrations and counting. Security Coach analyzes your security stack alerts to identify events related to any risky security behavior from your users. Use this information to set up real-time coaching campaigns targeting risky users based on those events from your network, endpoint, identity, or web security vendors. Then coach your users at the moment the risky behavior occurs, with contextual security tips delivered via Microsoft Teams, Slack, or email. Learn more at knowbe4.com/securitycoach. That's knowbe4.com/securitycoach. And we thank KnowBe4 for sponsoring our show. When it comes to ensuring your company has top-notch security practices, things can get complicated fast. Vanta automates compliance for SOC 2, ISO 27001, HIPAA, and more, saving you time and money. With Vanta, you can streamline security reviews by automating questionnaires and demonstrating your security posture with a customer-facing Trust Center. Over 7,000 global companies like Atlassian, Flow Health, and Quora use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. Our listeners can claim a special offer of $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/cyber. That's VANTA.com/cyber for $1,000 off Vanta. On this week's Threat Vector podcast, host David Moulton is joined by Daniel Kenzor, Global Data and AI Security Practice Lead at Accenture. They explore the seismic shifts in cybersecurity brought about by AI technologies.
I think they should take away that, again, security orgs really can and should lead and innovate in this space. We should identify areas where you can help drive better risk reduction, but enablement of your business, and do so defining what those guardrails should look like so the rest of the business can then follow in your footsteps in a very secure and responsible manner. Let's lead for the front and really help our businesses adopt wherever we can.
Welcome to Threat Vector, the Palo Alto Networks podcast, where we discuss pressing cybersecurity threats and resilience and uncover insights into the latest industry trends. I'm your host, David Moulton, Director of Thought Leadership. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Daniel Kenzor, the Global Data and AI Security Practice Lead at Accenture and a Managing Director. Daniel brings an impressive wealth of experience in cybersecurity strategy and architecture, particularly in orchestrating large-scale information security transformations across global organizations. Today's topic is incredibly timely and significant: securing the Gen AI transformation journey. Here's our conversation. Daniel Kenzor, welcome to Threat Vector. I've been looking forward to recording this episode with you.
Likewise, David. Happy to be here.
We've been well over 18 months into the broad and rapid proliferation of AI technologies across industry, as well as cases. How is the cybersecurity space impacted by AI?
It's been tremendous. I mean, if I just look at since ChatGPT kind of entered the public domain, we're really seeing kind of 2 or 3 very large transitions occur, right? One, from a threat actor perspective, we've seen a real surge in ransomware. So, over 76% increase since end of 2022, which is very significant, right? And it's hard to tie that all specifically to AI or things like that. But, over along the same timeline with all this going on from a security perspective, very impactful. The rise of phishing attacks, we're seeing almost a 1,300% increase since ChatGPT 3 launched. And in that same time, cyber defenders are really trying to figure out how do we take all these, really exciting LLMs and exciting plugins and all this AI technology that's hitting the market and figure out how do we leverage it for improving cybersecurity operations, right? So making our jobs faster, a little bit easier, allowing us to really spend time on the things that is exciting and is adding to risk reduction for the organization. And so that's kind of the backdrop. And then on top of that, you obviously have a very evolving regulatory landscape, right? And so all businesses are really trying to understand, what things like the EUI Act are really going to mean for them, try and follow along these different other federal, state, local government draft regulations that are going on and trying to figure out, how do we stitch all these three things together? So, if you're a chief information security officer or chief digital officer, things like that, it's a lot to juggle all at once, but just a super exciting time for the industry from my perspective.
So as organizations embark on their AI transformation journeys, what should they consider to maintain trust, security, and resilience?
I think it's such an interesting time for security to really lead, right? And let me explain that in a little bit more detail. When we look at the journey to cloud, it wasn't necessarily the best day for the security industry as a whole. By and large, security kind of struggled to keep pace with the aspiration of some of our technology counterparts, some of our business counterparts for sure. And so from a chief information security officer's seat, right, or security operations teams, location, et cetera, this is a great time to really say, hey, we're going to take this new technology and we're going to be a first adopter. And in doing so, we're going to identify areas where we're going to add value to our own operations. But we're going to do that by adding the security guardrails in real time. At the end of a couple sprints of innovation or experimentation or whatever it is, we not only have shown the business how we can be more effective, more efficient, et cetera, but we've also paved the way for the guardrails that the rest of the organization should be leveraging. So things like AI firewalls, things like being able to do proper assessments of the use cases that you're conducting with AI and creating those initial inventories and the frameworks and everything that the rest of the organization can really kind of draft after. And so when you kind of start with how do we do innovation at pace? How do we put the guardrails in place? And then how do we start to also leverage all these other components about AI that are super important from a governance perspective? So things like responsible AI, right? So how do we make sure that we're being very thoughtful, limiting, let's say, toxic behavior, toxic speech, bias, inserting trust into these different workloads? Those are all things that security can demonstrate to the rest of the organization. And rather than let them start to kind of go down a path and then say, okay, great, this is what you really need to be think about. This is a great opportunity just to lead from the front and really make it baked in from day one. And in that way, I think security will really be an enabler on these AI transformations.
Thanks for listening to this segment of the Threat Vector Podcast. If you want to hear the whole conversation, you can find the show in your podcast player. Just search for Threat Vector by Palo Alto Networks. Each week, I interview leaders from across our industry and from Palo Alto Networks to get their insights on cybersecurity, the threat landscape, and the constant changes we face. See you there.
Be sure to check out the complete Threat Vector podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts and right here on the N2K CyberWire podcast network. The IT world used to be simpler. You only had to secure and manage environments that you controlled. Then came new technologies and new ways to work. Now, employees, apps, and networks are everywhere. This means poor visibility, security gaps, and added risk. That's why Cloudflare created the first ever connectivity cloud. Visit cloudflare.com to protect your business everywhere you do business.
Uma pausa no seu podcast para contar que chegou o novo Peugeot 2008, um carro que impressiona até quem já viu de tudo. Conheça uma experiência de puro prazer em dirigir com acabamento sofisticado e design inconfundível. Descubra como conforto e tecnologia podem elevar o nível da sua experiência de direção. Conheça o novo Peugeot 2008 e deixe a inspiração te guiar.
And finally, two young men, Malone Lamb, also known online as Anne Hathaway, and Jean-Deal Serrano, also known as Versace God and Skid Star, were arrested by the FBI for allegedly pulling off a cryptocurrency heist worth a staggering $230 million. The dynamic duo, aged 20 and 21, are accused of stealing 3,100 Bitcoin from a Washington, D.C. victim back in August. Their scam? Posing as Google support with a spoofed phone number, tricking their victim into sharing their screen, and snagging the private keys to their cryptocurrency wallet. They even managed to convince the victim to reset their two-factor authentication, giving them full control of the wallet. But their plot to launder the funds via VPNs, peel chains, and pass-through wallets didn't go as smoothly as planned. Their operational security was, well, let's say less Ocean's 11 and more amateur hour. Cryptocurrency investigator Zach XBT revealed their sloppy behavior, including allegedly recording themselves on a group chat during the heist. The pair didn't exactly lay low either. They lived lavishly, throwing down $500,000 on nights out, gifting random ladies designer handbags, and handing out pink Lamborghinis like party favors. Apparently, though, splurging on Birkin bags and endless champagne didn't help Mr. Lamb's love life. Despite their extravagant spending and efforts to hide their tracks, the FBI was quick to catch up with them. It turns out stealing $250 million isn't as easy as it looks. And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. We're privileged that N2K CyberWire is part of the daily routine of the most influential leaders and operators in the public and private sector, from the Fortune 500 to many of the world's preeminent intelligence and law enforcement agencies. N2K makes it easy for companies to optimize your biggest investment, your people. We make you smarter about your teams while making your teams smarter. Learn how at n2k.com. This episode was produced by Liz Stokes. Our mixer is Trey Hester with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Our executive editor is Brandon Karp. Simone Petrella is our president. Peter Kilpie is our publisher. And I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.